Step 1. Preparing your artwork. When preparing your artwork to be burned onto the screen, work in black and white only. The simpler the image, the better it's going to look. Once you have the artwork prepared, print or photocopy it onto a transparent film, and you will be ready to produce a screen stencil. It is very important that the black areas printed on the transparency are completely opaque, so hold it up to the light and make sure all the black lines are totally dense.
Step 2. Preparing your screen. The first thing you have to do is get an aluminum or wood screen. If you are planning to use it more than once, you should invest in an aluminum because they last longer and they are easier to wash out.
Once you bought the screen, the first important thing to do is wash it out with cold water and a degreasing agent. Getting the grease out helps the emulsion bond with the fabric, which gives you a crisper stencil. When degreasing the screen, first rinse with water, then spray small amounts of degreaser on both sides and use a scrub pad to scrub the degreaser into the screen in a circular motion. Let it stand for a minute, then rinse off with water. Also important to understand the orientation of your screen. The flat back of the screen, which sits on the printing surface, is called the paper side or print side, and the front of the screen is called the squeegee side. Step 3. Coating. The first thing you do after your screen is degreased and completely dry is to coat your screen in emulsion. Make sure you do this under yellow light because it is very light sensitive. Use a small cup to transfer some emulsion from the pail to the scoop coater. It should be about 1 centimeter deep in the scoop. Then hold the screen on about a 75-degree angle from the floor and use the sharp side of the coater to drag the tip up against the side of the screen in a smooth motion. Then scrape downwards and try to get as much emulsion off as possible. Repeat on the other side of the screen. Set the screen in a light safe area in a horizontal position to dry. Step 4. Exposing the screen. You should try to get your image 6 inches from the side of the emulsion, and try to get it as square as you can at this time. Next, you get your screen and place the image on the flat side and make sure the entire image is being covered by emulsion. Your image should be backwards, so when you flip the screen right side up, it is on the right side. Use 2 pieces of clear tape to tape your image to your screen. Check the screen once more, then close the latch and make sure it is securely fashioned. Set the vacuum timer for 1 minute 50 seconds and turn on the vacuum pump and make sure the rubber is sucked down onto the side of the frame.
Step 5. Washing out the screen. Remember that the screen is still very light sensitive, so you should expose it to as little light as possible. Take your screen and put it in the wash bay. Use a gentle spray and wet the back and front, then let it stand for 30 seconds. Continue spraying gently until the area where your image is completely washed out. Make sure it is completely washed out, and at this point you can expose it to light. Let it dry completely. Step 6. Setting up the printer. This step is easy if you're only doing one color. If you're doing more than one color, you should set up the first color first, then your other colors in order. Take your frame and tape the edges so that the ink cannot seep through the sides. Put the frame in the press with the flat side down, centered in the middle. Take your blank shirt and put it on the bottom of the press to make sure it lines up with your image. Step 7. Printing a shirt. First, take your heater and set it to the max so it's ready when you need to use it. Then take the color of ink you want to use and spread it across the top of the frame. Use the squeegee and make a thin coat called the flood coat. After, push the frame down so it is touching the shirt. Take your squeegee again and now push down on the mesh so the paint seeps through your image. Continue to do this until the entire image is covered. Lift the frame and see if your desired image is on the shirt. If not, put it back down and squeegee more ink. Step 8. Heating the shirt. After the ink is pressed into your shirt in the desired image, take your heater that should be already warmed and place it 5 inches over your shirt. Turn the heater down to 3/4 power and let it sit until your shirt is dry. After